Okay guys, yes, the CX-3 again. I just did the review on this car.
You want to see something very satisfying? Brand new visor!
And then I realized that the one that I did was the one right before the facelift. So, and then the facelift came and it's 2019, but you really need to love your Mazdas to be able to tell the difference. Alright. First of all, every time I review a Mazda, it's the paint that catches the eye, right? The paint quality of the Soul Red paints. Look at it, man. It almost looked like a wrap. You know, they have this type of metallic wrap out there where it's not just the color, but it's as if it's a red color sheet metal. That's what it looks like, you know. That's how the Soul Red paint looks like. For some reason, the sun was out earlier on and then it decided to just hide itself. Now, I love this headlamp. Okay, the Mazda, their signature design now, where the grille sort of cuts into the headlamp, and then you have this thing that almost forms an eye. And I like how it is designed. I know a lot of new headlamps out there, you know, they claim LED, blah blah, but I still love headlamps with a projector headlamp, with a projector inside, because it gives the car, okay, this cliche word gonna come out again, it gives the car a soul. Because if your eyes have a pupil, that's where we connect, right? Compared to LED lamps that are, you know, just the cut lines and all that. Now, the CX-3 has always been a great looking car. A lot of people love it, and the biggest complaint is its size, right? It is small. Okay, let's get that out of the way first. Just like how the A-Class is small, the GLA is small, the CX-3 is small. So you don't have to ask questions like, oh, how does it compare with the HR-V? When it comes to practicality, I mean, there's no comparison, right? We all know that. Just like a Camry is larger than a 3 Series. There's no need to even discuss about that. Some people might try to tell you that, no, actually the CX-3 is alright, it's okay, not too small. Nonsense, it is small, okay? It is a small car. Now, I really like the profile of this car. It has this profile that looks really good. Come, I'll walk further a bit. Look at that line on top of the headlamps, and then it comes down the side mirror, door handle, and sort of blends in below the rear door handle. And then the other line is on top of the rear door handle, and you look at how they reflect light. One part is dark, one part is light. You see that? So that's how they interplay with the lighting based on the light, the lines. And then it's interesting to see one door handle below, one door handle above. That's really nice. And then this thing is so popular now, this design trend now, where you have segregated parts, right? Gloss black here to give it a floating roof design, and then they have this thing here that seemingly everybody is doing it now. Okay, I can't stop looking at the paint, man. Soul Red is just so damn beautiful, this paint. Mazda had to invest 20 million ringgit in Malaysia on a paint facility just to be able to paint this paint. So if you have a Mazda in Soul Red, practically speaking, Mazda made less money on you if you pick the Soul Red, okay? And I learned something during my trip to Volvo's design center. Apparently, red color is the hardest and most expensive color to achieve when it comes to painting process of a car. That's why we always get, how do I put this? We always get suggestions of red. Do you notice that? Look at the red HR-V, the earlier one, the Mugen one. That type of red where it's dark is what, you know, it's very hard to capture the correct shade of red. I have no idea why, I need to research on that, but they told me that red color paint on a car is the hardest to achieve a nice tone and a nice shade. Okay, that's why you always get weird red colors that are just somehow darker but people seem to accept it because it's widespread, but it's a limitation on the process. Not so much that, oh, so my neighbors like that type of rate. No, everybody loves something like this, but it's expensive and difficult to achieve. So you see this one, you see the new Camry. Yeah, those are expensive stuffs. Alright, let's go to the boot first, shall we? Let's come to the boot. This design is so familiar now that, and hey, the boot is not large because the car is not large at the first place, but it's not too far off from the Subaru XV, mind you, even though the Subaru XV looks like a lot larger. You have a space saver here, you have an air compressor here. Yeah. Okay, let's start the car, and then this thing is still here. I love it. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay. Metal. This piece here is not some laminated stuff. This is one piece of brushed aluminium. Lovely material. The same type of material that you find in Audi Q3's, right? Alcantara or nubuck, can't really tell. Great material, fantastic to look at. Lovely combination here. Not so much this, but this has been around. Mazda has been using it. You know, some carbon fiber look-alike plastics, and decent plastics on the buttons for a Japanese car, and molding. I always tell car makers, mold your door panels like that. Let it be slanted. Let it be slanted so that you can put a huge bottle. Your bottle doesn't need to stand straight. When you stand straight, you need a big gap between your door bins and your door handles. But when you let it slant, you can put a huge bottle, even if your door pocket isn't that big at the first place. The speakers could have been here, but nonetheless, they want people to be able to hear it. Unfortunately, this is then blocked off. I think I mentioned about this earlier on. When they do this type of molding, they need to make sure it's strong enough. They need to make sure it's spacious enough. If they cut off full length, that means they need another sort of things behind to strengthen it. If not, the whole thing will flex and then will give you a feeling of cheap quality. Alright, this is laminated plastic, but then you have some metallic sort of coating on top. Okay, this one, my lovely material that I like, satin chrome, and I always find that this is the most practical way of designing an aircon van. First, they look great, and then one knob to go up, down, left, right, and then to close it, open it. Okay, I always love this design. Standard, no surprises here. Heads-up display, but it's the panel type. To me, I don't have an issue with that. Just that every time you see the little plastic rising up, you will wonder if one day it will stop rising up or not. Okay, you just wonder. I mean, things that move means one day they might no longer move, right? This lovely material here, again, either is nubuck, either is Alcantara. I cannot tell the difference. They feel great to the touch. Unfortunately, this great material that is on the door panels, front and back, and the inlays isn't reflected on the seat. If somehow some parts of the seat, like if this part is that material, that would have been really great. Okay, the seats, they hold you well. The seats are decent, they're comfortable, even though they look small, but they're just about controlled. They are contoured in a way that is alright. Okay, the car is small, no doubts about that. It is a small car. This is a small, stylish car. Okay, I think I mentioned something like that, where if you are the type of person who loves Mini Coopers but you cannot afford one, this is a great alternative. 100,000 ringgit cheaper. I love this part. This entire thing is covered in leather with sponge behind, and it's very comfortable for your knees. So you feel very comfortable resting your knees here. Somehow it's not in the same leather as this, as the inlays. Maybe it's not practical to rub this every time. So they have these sort of leather and stitches over there. And a small tray here. This tray will tell you how small the car is. Right? Look at the center console. You can always judge a car's segment by the width of its center console. How far is it? You know, a Camry would have been something like that, right? A 6 Series would be something like that. You know, they're a lot wider. So this is actually a small car. Small, nimble, easy to park, easy to drive, practical, 5-seater. Okay, put your stuffs here. You can only put like a Nokia 3310, right? There's no way you can put a modern phone here. Look, that's a Note 8. There's no way to put a modern phone here. But then you get SD card slot, 12 volt, 2 USB ports, auxiliary jack, everything there, very accessible. The CD slot is over there as well. I thought the CD slot should have been here somehow. Anyway, Mazda Connect, MZD Connect has always been very easy to use. They don't look very complicated. They don't look super expensive, but they are functional nonetheless. Is this touchscreen now? Oh, it is touchscreen as well. Nice, but small screen. Remember I explained why people do stand-up screens that stand alone? Back then, when screens started appearing in cars, they need a hood to cover it because screen technology wasn't that good back then in terms of the contrast ratio, right? So they need another thing to cover it so that it is still legible under direct sunlight. Now screen technologies have improved, right? And they don't need that anymore. But this trend that started by BMW is because, okay, you see this panel behind here? You see this? Alright? Why the screen stands on top is because back then, when you have a cowl, a big cowl like that, and then your car, you have a 520i, you have a 525i, you have a 535i, within the cowl, which is molded one piece, you can never variate the size, right? The size stays constant. But then when you have different variants in your lineup, you want to reward people who pay more, right? Then you have 6-inch screens, 8-inch screens, or 10-inch screens. So the problem would be the cowl has to accommodate the 10-inch screen. However, when you bought like a base spec, like a 316, right, you get a smaller screen. Then you have those really ugly edges, full white plastics on each side, and then it exposes your bank balance, right? So they decided to put a stand-up screen whereby the screen is standalone like a tablet. So if your screen is small, right, you get a small tablet. If it's big, you get a big tablet. But apparently a lot of car makers do not understand why BMW designed that in the first place. They just thought it is very trendy and everybody just followed for no reason. Actually, there's a reason why BMW does it. Alright, so that's the explanation for that. And then here you have the 3 dials finished in metallic surfaces. They feel alright. Alright, this is unnecessary. This little bit here could have just been a cut in this and then it will look classy. This amber color indicator is not very classy, to say the least. That's on the lights. They do light up, I believe, or they just merely illuminate. They don't light up, but they just illuminate. Okay, no, they don't light up at all. So it's unnecessary to have that. It ruins the design of this. Okay, gear stock, no complaints here. Mazda's transmission. I love Mazda's transmission. Clever, smart. One of the smartest gearboxes out there. If you put Porsche aside, okay, very, very clever gearbox. Fantastic to drive. Fast. MZD Connect's dial. This thing now feels higher quality than a lot of German ones. You know, it feels great. But I think it's about time Mazda improve or update MZD Connect to have more features or nicer interface and all that. The biggest change here is this one. Remember I talked about how good Audi's center arm console is in that they don't click lock. Somehow this is now like that. It doesn't click lock, it merely covers. And then you have this weird contraption here. Look at this guy here. I'm still trying to figure out how to operate it. It looks very complicated. Ooh. Now, this is the engineer showing off, you know, sitting by his desk, finish his work, but his boss, who might be not as smart as him, still sitting in his cubicle, and then he don't dare to go home, you know, Japanese, right? And then he starts scribbling stuff, drawing things, and then he came up with this. I made up that story, but from the look of this doesn't look like a supplier actively, you know, doing their CAD software and then came up with something like this and then go to Mazda and propose it to Mazda. It cannot be. This is some internal engineer coming up with it and then doing a prototype himself and then showing it to his boss. Personal achievement. Okay, I have no idea why it needs to be that complicated when it comes to its design, because it's just for cups, and I don't know, man. This is show off. Okay, it's not something that it may look simple to you, but how much engineering depth you need to have in order to come up with something like that. Okay, no springs there. Oh, there is a spring down there. So if you take that thing out, you get a huge compartment. Huge is relative here. Can this be plugged out as well? Because I see a seam there. Is that a construction seam? Okay, I have no idea why they do this, but anyway, they did it anyway. Okay, it's a big, deep compartment. If you take this brother out, and I don't find any other space to store him, so I just have to leave him back here. But somehow, can I swap the positions? I cannot swap the positions. It will only go in this way. Yeah, and then you press this. You can keep your cup holders. So this one for, which one is larger, Grande or Venti? I'm not sure. Right, for your smaller cups, and then this one for your bigger cups, and then this one. Seriously, you look at that! Look at that, guys! Look at this! This little. Oh, you can even lock the position. Okay, you can push it out of the way, but this thing doesn't go out of the way. This thing is still there, right? And then I don't know, man. This is just like, you know, some enthusiastic fresh grad that just joined Mazda, and then the boss asked him to go like, okay, I'll let you be in charge of the cup holders in the CX-3. Don't screw it up. Then the guy go like, okay, boss. And then he came up with this. And you do not know how to reject a young person who is so passionate. See, I spent too much time talking to cup holders. Anyway, huge glove box. That's about it. Alright. Steering wheel. Nice small steering wheel. I always love Mazda steering wheels. But. The pedal shifters of Mazdas, right? To be honest, they are really too tiny at times. They're so small. It's like they don't want you to know when they're not there because some of them don't have it, right? Come on, man. We need a larger ones that actually, at least it should extend beyond the width of this middle grip here. Anyway, all the buttons here feels alright, okay? And this is very European-like, very BMW, very Audi-like. Just press that to stop it. So operational-wise, it's exactly the same as a BMW iDrive. Okay, let's come to the rear. See, that's my driving position. That is my driving position. And this car, even though it has ISOFIX, if you have a really big baby seat, you will not be able to fit it into the CX-3. So the CX-3 is like a second car, you know. It's like you have a main family car, but then the wife wanted a smaller car, or a young man, he doesn't want a big car, he wants a small car. You know, he goes to gym after work, he goes to enjoy his drives, he wants sort of like a CUV or crossover lifestyle kind of car. This is it. Alright, it's pretty, I just have to say it's tight at the back here. Okay, you need to pull this up to sit. It's just like those European hatchbacks, you know, like Fiestas and the likes. Yeah, it's small at the back here. Okay, this is 60/40 folding. You get an armrest. Most cars of this size do not get an armrest. Okay, somehow this one does. So it's a mixture. Really, this car, right? It's like a mixture of. It's exactly what it is, isn't it? It is. Ouch. Okay. In car review terms, premium cars means BMW, Audi, Mercedes, blah blah, and all that, right? But for people who own B segment cars, Vios, City, Mazda 2, or even Almeras, Myvis and all that, right? A car that is 120 or 130,000 is considered a premium car for them, right? Isn't that so? This is something that they proudly drive. They would love to have it. 2-liter engine, fast. It's a relatively big engine for the size of the car. So this car, right, is finished in an expensive paint, relatively large wheels, okay, all-round disc brakes, keyless entry. You have GPS, you have Alcantara, Nubuck, you have brushed metal in there, you have LED lights up front, projector headlamps, you have an armrest at the back. So it's sort of like, you know, they take stuff from the 130k price range and dump it into a small B segment car, raise it up into a lifestyle kind of car, and put a larger engine inside there. You don't get a 2-liter engine with a Mazda 2, right? The 2-liter engine belongs to a Mazda 3 segment car. So that's what the CX-3 is. Alright, I just noticed this. Even the dashboard has stitchings. Alright, so yep, that's the Mazda CX-3. A lovely small little car that you buy if you like the Countryman, but then you don't want to spend another 100,000 ringgit, or you cannot spend another 100,000 ringgit. Is there any other car in this price range that is positioned as a lifestyle car? Yes, the CHR. HRV was supposed to be, but it is so practical. Everybody bought one. It became the smaller CRV. It became the practical default car of choice for everybody now, the HRV. But the CX-3 is still the sporty little hatchback crossover that handles fantastically, and then you gotta use it every day. Alright, that's the walk around video. Cheers guys.